Hello, beautiful internet and your fantastic creatures of the beyond. I have cracked the code. I have achieved the task that I initially wanted. That was to basically clone a color. And I just realized that this might defeat the purpose of what I'm doing here. So I'll just leave him be this distinguished gentleman. I'll just let him there for the moment. So, what I meant by a color is cloning a color. So let's take any individual. Let's take this color for example. That's not right. A bit more desaturated, please. Okay, so let's give it a border. Of course, I had to mess something up with the borders. Okay, never mind, it works. So when we have something like this, we might want to, if we want to clone the color, we basically create a clone, right? So we're gonna go clone and create a clone and voila. So the cool thing about this is that the clone just follows exactly the pattern of the parent. If I change something to the clone, let's say I change the stroke to, I don't know, 50, and I change the color inside, let's say, to something, where are you, fill color, oops, something like this, you know, it follows exactly like that. But this is not helping us because we can only reposition this, but we can't do one particular thing to it. We can't change its shape. I mean, we can the moment we detach it as a clone, it will happen. So let's say, for example, if I want to change it to another shape, let's say this circle, I can do that by selecting, first I have to copy this, so I'll press Ctrl C. And then if I go to this, I can go clone and I say relink clone. And this says relink the selected clone to an object currently on the clipboard. So if I click this, it's gonna it's gonna change parents. So this is the clone, this is the parent. If you want to ever know who the parent is, you can just go to the edit clone and select original. So you can see, it even puts a line there. So yeah, you can play with clones like this, but it's defeating the purpose of what we want to achieve. But let's say that I'm gonna select this and I'm going to create a special kind of clone. And there are two ways to doing this. First of all, this is the easy way, clone original path LPE, but I'm not gonna click it yet. So let me just create a shape, whatever. I'm gonna create something like so. Let's remove the color. So this has no relation to this other one. It's just random stuff. And it's just a line. It has a border. It has nothing. It's not even a path. This one isn't a path either. But if I select this, and if I go to my path effects, and if I go to clone original, this is the hard way, but also the normal way to do it. I don't know. I'm gonna explain in a moment. So first of all, I'm gonna copy this, Ctrl C. I'm gonna select this, and I'm gonna link the item by pasting it. This is the past icon. So you see, bam, it created it. Now this is an exact clone of this one, right? The only difference is that if I now move it around, rotate it, resize it, change the color, let me get these panels out of the way, nothing is happening to the clone. You might say, well, what the heck? What kind of a clone is that? It's a broken clone. Actually, it's not broken. So right now, if we look at this, it doesn't have the same icon as a clone. You see? It's just like a normal path. But in actuality, this one is having all the benefits of a clone, except that it does not have the attributes and the CSS properties of the clone. So we can control that. But like, for example, if I want to replicate the exact shape, I can go here and I can go with LPE. Okay, so now if I change this to a path, oops, I didn't select it with LPE. Oh, I think I need to do it like this. No, it's not working. Why the hell are you not changing? Yeah, I don't know. This sometimes it's just acting up. Now the crazy part is that we have the original shape here, but it doesn't do anything. And you shouldn't delete it either, because this is basically, I don't know, if I try to delete it, it's gonna delete the entire thing. And it's gonna crash, of course. Awesome. I love you, Inkscape. You are the best. Okay, let's get back. Open recent. This one? Yeah, this one. So don't do it like that. So what is the advantage of this then? Okay, so right now it's not even connected, it destroyed the path. That's interesting. Well, the correct way to do this is to select this, go to clone, and clone original path LPE. Now we see that it automatically creates this black thing over it. If I try to move it, it's just gonna snap, which is weird, right? So I have to click Allow Transforms, and now I can move it. But again, no matter what I do to it now, this one remains unaffected. And since it is unaffected, I'm gonna go to with LPE. Now it is changing based on the shape. And the same applies to the other modes as well. It changes after the shape without LPE. LPE means basically if this one, and I'll show you in a moment. Aside from this one, I really don't understand how this one works. Because Spyro and B-line apply to this kind of a shape. This is a B-spline. And this one is the Spyro. So I don't know why it says only to that, because it has no effect if it's a Spyro or a normal path or anything like that. So I'm not entirely sure how you apply this. But if I go without LP, it's just going to follow the shape. And if, for example, I apply a new path effect here, let's say an offset, and let's say we're gonna give it a 50. You see, it's transforming it. Here, it doesn't happen anything. But if I press it with LP, it's going to take the LP that's applied here, the additional LP. Because this is also an LP. Confusing at first, but whatever. But if I go with no shape, it's going to return to its original shape that it was initially made. And this one, technically, it should take the shape that this one currently has, but I don't know why it's not doing that. So yeah, it's kind of messy. Maybe I need to copy it again, and then if I apply this to it again, no, nothing happens. So weird, but interestingly enough, this one also has this path effect here, which is not editable, but it sends you to its clone. There are some advantages to this, in theory at least. If you apply an LPE like this, it's basically projecting its geometry here, so basically it's a reference. It's not really working like the traditional clone, so it kind of saves a bit of space in your SVG, but there is a caveat to this. If you create too many of these, Inkscape is going to act up because it's constantly calculating the positioning from the parent, the size of the parent, and many other parameters that might slow down your Inkscape. And this is kind of regardless of how many resources you have attributed to your computer, because this is kind of the cache memory of Inkscape. There are some issues there. It's finicky. But let's see. Let's say I'm gonna go with LPE, with LPE. It's not working anymore. You bastard, why aren't you working? Ah. What can you do? Yeah, I've messed it up somewhere. So as I said, it's finicky, but this is not the purpose. The purpose of this exercise that we're doing is... Oops, what did I do? Is to clone the color. So if I'm not attributing any shape here, I can change this, right? I can even add new nodes like this, which is really awesome. So if I go here and let's say I'm gonna change this to a pinkish, something like this. Again, we're not having any association here. But if I want to do that, I can just go to the CSS property and I can call the fill CSS. And you see it's taking this, but obviously it's not taking the border. Why is that? Or let's say I want this to be a bit transparent. Again, we're not receiving these things here. So what gives? Well, we have to give it more properties. CSS properties, I mean. So let's say I want to give it opacity. And you have to click this button in order for it to apply. So you see now it takes the opacity from there. What else can we take from here? We can take, and if you ever need to know what you need to type there, you go here into the XML editor, which you open from this part, whatever. And you click on the original path that you want to take the information from, and you go to style, click here, and you see all the properties: fill, stroke, stroke wide, blah 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 blah, fill, opacity, and so on. But this might be daunting to write them individually, although, as I said, it gives a lot of control over what you're doing. So if I want to take everything from there, I can just call the style element here. Bam. And now I have everything as a replica except the shape. Now that's very important. So now, for example, I can just go around and kind of, as you can see, it's already starting to act up because it's kind of calculating all the things from the original, so whatever. So let's say I want to create it like this shape. I can even delete nodes so it does not affect anything. So you can create your own shape, and once I start doing changes to this, it automatically does it here as well. And I can do this as many times as I want. But the problem is that you're always linking this to the original item. And if this gets deleted or something can happen along the way, it sucks. It really sucks because it can crash, it's quite finicky to do it this way. So, and sometimes the shape if the shape gets messed up here and you click this and it takes the original shape with the LPE, now you're going to lose you're not losing the original shape that you've created, which is nice. But you see if, now it works. It's silly. Now you see that profile that we've made now applied to this. So it can get messy if you're going to do it like this. Plus the resource issue. Well, I'm talking resources when you're making a lot of those clones and changing their paths and so on. So I would not do it this way. Although this was my original intention, and it's really nice that we can do it this way. Now, if I'm gonna take this is a group right now. As you can see here. The distinguished gentleman octopus. Octopi is the plural, I think. Now, if I'm gonna do the same here, select a clone the original path. Did it do it? Yeah, it did it. It's gonna take everything inside. This is because it's cloning the group, and what's inside the group is already colored. So this is our original. It's naming original as well. Let's call this the child. So again, we're having the same issue with the snapping, and that is because we're not allowing the transformation to occur. If I click that, it allows me to do that. Now there is one problem. I can simulate pretty much everything from a clone with this. So create a clone. So now if I enlarge this, the clone is going to do this. If I want to apply the same thing, I would have to write here transform. But the issue is, like, this one is actually disabling the transform. You see, I click it there and it's already putting it on the origin, but it's taking the translation. Translation means the X and Y coordinates. So if, for example, I take the original and I enlarge it, everything follows that path. So the way to do this, to take the child and make a translation, is to tell the child in the XML. Which one is it? Well, now I really don't know which one is the child. Come on, where are you, child? This one. Is to give this translation. This, you see right now here we have a matrix in the transform, which is kind of... So I would have to... Jesus, this is so difficult to... I would have to give it a translation of 400, let's say by 400. And you see it moved, but then it doesn't take the rotation or the scale, sorry. And neither does it take the rotation. But if I change this, it's gonna delete that. It's gonna update my value inside the child for the transform. So this is not a viable way to do it, because you cannot control those elements in the child, which really sucks, because if I could make a separate transform, I don't know. Let's try. Although I'm not sure it's gonna work. Transform. And I'm gonna give this a oh, what? Transform. Oh no, it's not, it doesn't allow me. So it doesn't allow me to create a duplicate. That sucks. I thought I could create another transform with different values and attributes there. But no, he's evil. evil, I tell you. Well, what can you do? But it's really cool that we can at least do some things for the basic shapes. So again, if I take this with no shape and I modify it, I can even delete all 3 points. And then I can start... Oh shoot, it's not allowing me. Okay. Okay, let's try something different then. Let's try to separate this into 2 points. And see, now I separated it like this. If I come with my pen tool, and I just start making new geometry, yeah, it applies. So now I can just close it here if I want. You see, really cool. You can create geometry from this. And if I don't like the style to be applied, I just apply the color and opacity. If I want the stroke, I just type the stroke here. But you will see there is a big difference between this stroke and this stroke. What gives? Well, you have plenty of things to do in there. You see, the style actually has the paint order, which is strong fill. So you would have to copy this one. Sorry, not this one, only this one. The stroke order, you have to copy it from here and give it here. And now if I press OK, it's trying to follow that. But again, it's not following the stroke wide. So you have to give the stroke wide as well. So you can control exactly what you want to take from there, because now you see this one is sharp. Why is that? We didn't give the stroke line join or the stroke line cap. So yeah, there's quite a lot of granular things that you can type in the CSS properties, which is really amazing. But for this purpose, I only want the feel. So I'm gonna keep this. Now, if I'm not gonna give those things, the cool thing is that I can get my own stroke. See? Super awesome. And I can control this stroke however I wish. So for example, I can give this a 20. And I can choose here however I want it to be set up. Right now it's because we didn't create the rounded caps and joints. But maybe I want to make this dashed. See? Super duper awesome. Maybe I want to put it like so. Perfect. And now whatever I do, I can only change the color here. And it's not affecting my shape. But again, no orientation or nothing. So you cannot really create the clone. But there are always these limitations. So I wouldn't go this route. I would still go the route of the style. Of the CSS style, creating separate CSSs, and then associating them with the swatches, the custom swatches, and that gives you better control on your shape, not always fearing the fact that you might click someday come here and click this no shape. And but it's weird, it's not working with the node tool. It only applies with this one and only sometimes. So I don't know, it's really weird. So yeah, now it doesn't want to work at all. I don't know why this one doesn't want to be taken. But you see, it messes up everything we've worked on. So if I click now the shape, it takes this shape. Yeah, so it's nyeh. Really sucky. But still, a very powerful and impressive tool in my opinion. I love it. And I know I've created a ton of weird things here, but at least we have a distinguished gentleman to look at. Okay, guys, you stay awesome. I hope you learned something useful from here. So you can do your own evil experiments. And I'll catch you in the next episode. Bye 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 bye.